Okay. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Good morning, Gunjan, Ishan, Ayushi, Saurabh. Good morning, Gunjan, Ishan, Ayushi. Pooja, Avdesh, Sanjay, Vardha, Anand, Ruchita, Sudhanshu, Keshav Puthari, Manvi. Sir, we are very missed to you in last class, sir. Definitely, I will also miss you all. So, good morning, each and everyone. Today is the most important session, the presentation in examination. So, you can say this is the golden session for your law class. But before this session, we should start a test for Unit 6. But before the starting the test, we should have the revision. Contingent contract. Contingent contract, section 31, a contract to do or not to do something if some event collateral to such contract does or does not happen, like insurance, indemnity, and guarantee. So, legal rules: if a contract depending upon the happening of event can be enforced when the event happened, and if the happening of the event become impossible, the contract will be void. If a contract dependent upon the non-happening of an event can be enforced if the happening of event become impossible. If event happens, the contract will be void. If a contract dependent upon the happening of an event within the specified time, the contract can be enforced only if the event happened within that time. If event does not happen within that time or happening become impossible, the contract will be void. If a contract dependent upon the non-happening of an event within that specified time, so can be enforced only if the event does not happen in that time or happening become impossible. But if event happened within that time, the contract will be void. If a contract dependent upon the behavior of a person within the specified time, such person acts in specified manner, the contract can be enforced. But if person does in such a way the happening become impossible, the contract will be void. If a contract dependent upon an impossible event, it is always void. Quasi contract actually the contract which are not entered intentionally. They are created by law due to some special circumstances. What are the types of quasi contract? What are the types of quasi contract? First is claim for necessity supplied to a person incompetent to contract, like lunatic. Reimbursement to a person paying money due by another in the payment of which he is interested, like for example, remember Lagan. Obligation of person enjoying benefit of non-gratuitous act, example of Puri Bhaji. Responsibility of finder of lost dog, responsibility like Bailey, you must take care of that goods. Liability of person to whom money is paid or good delivered under mistake or coercion, right? So let's start the test. Please prepare the sheet. No need to send the answers. Good morning, Shivasri, Abhi, Priyanshu, Pandalya, Gareja, Keshav, Sadia, Ekta, Sanket, Yumanshi, Arshdeep, Himanshu, Nittal, Vaibhav, Ritika, Rohini, Rohan, Gunjan, Kalyani, Shubham, Netra, Surya, Himanshu, Tejashri, आशीष, श्रुति, कुणाल, सलोनी, वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग बच्चों। तनिष्का, मोहम्मद, साहिल खान, जेबा, गुड मॉर्निंग बेटा। अंशिता, देवेश, गुड मॉर्निंग। गुनगुन, तरुषि, संकेत, शुभांशी, स्मृति, अजहर, कुश, जैंसी, संकेत, गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन, गुड मॉर्निंग। समवन इज आस्किंग सर, अगर अंतरराष्ट्रीय स्तर पर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो तो दोनों देशों में किस पार्टी का लॉ अप्लाई होगा? डिपेंडेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किस जगह पे हो रहा है? So good morning everyone, good morning once again, good morning. Beta, someone is saying, sir, you said today there will be class of second chapter, then by other teacher. No beta, today the class or last class of Indian Contract, next class will be of a second chapter, right? After this session you won't take a class anymore. No, I will take the session of LLP. Two lectures will be in September. Sir, which is the most important topic? Full law, whole law is important, not only for your exam but also for your life. Okay, let's start the question number 1. A contingent contract is void, voidable, illegal, valid. The answer is a contingent contract is valid. A agrees to pay rupees 10,000 to B if certain ship does not return. This is a contingent contract and can be enforced when the ship returns, sinks, does not sink, both A and C. The answer is when the ship sinks. A agrees to pay rupees 5,000 to B. If B's car is burnt, it is a void contract, voidable, vagrant, contingent. It is contingent contract. Next question. A person who supplies necessary to a minor is entitled to be reimbursed from the property of minor on the basis of valid contract, voidable, quasi, contingent. The answer is quasi contract. Next. A tradesman left certain goods at B's house by mistake. Who treats the goods as his own? In this case, B is not bound to pay for the goods as there is no binding contract. B is bound to pay as A's act is non-gratuitous and quasi-contract arises between them. Under section 70, A is not entitled to recover as no such relation arise under section 70 due to one's own mistake. The contract is voidable at the option of either party. Which is the right option? The answer is the quasi contract between A and B. A agrees to pay rupees 10,000 to B if certain ship returns within a year. The ship sinks within the year. In this case, the contract becomes valid, void, voidable, illegal? The answer is beta void. Contract dependent upon the happening of an event, but happening becomes impossible, contract becomes void. Quasi contractual relations are based on the intention of parties. True or false? The answer is false, because quasi contracts are never based on the intention of the parties. A's property was wrongfully advertised for the sale of or recovery of government revenue due from B. A paid the government dues. In this case, A is entitled to recover the amount of dues paid by him from B on the basis of government contracts, valid contract, quasi contract, none of these. The answer is beta, it is quasi contract. Second, next question. A contingent contract becomes when the future uncertain event on the happening of which the contract is dependent becomes impossible. The contract dependent upon the happening of an event, but happening of event become impossible. The contract will be void, voidable, valid, illegal. The answer is void. Last question. A quasi contractual obligation arises where a person supplies necessaries to an incompetent person, makes payment of money or delivery of goods by mistake or under coercion. Both, none of these. The answer is both. One query from your side. Question number 2. A agrees to pay 10,000 to B. A ने एग्री किया कि वो B को 10,000 देगा अगर शिप एक साल में शिप नहीं लौटता है. This is a contingent contract. Definitely it can be enforced. कब enforce किया जा सकता है? जब वो शिप डूब जाए. ठीक है. क्वेश्चन 4. किसी माइनर को या लूनेटिक को जो भी इनकॉम्पिटेंट है उसको अगर नेसेसरी सप्लाई करनी है तो वो उस नेसेसरी का पेमेंट उसकी एस्टेट से क्लेम कर सकता है. दिस इज ऑन द बेस ऑफ क्वासी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. सो बच्चों, दिस वाज द टेस्ट. आई थिंक यू नीड नॉट टू सेंड द आंसर्स. बस यू, दिस इज सेल्फ असेसमेंट टेस्ट. आई एम कमिंग टू द मोस्ट अवेटिंग टॉपिक, how to prepare in exam. सिंक क्या होता है? सिंक मतलब डूब जाना होता है. Sir, how to revise the whole Indian Contract Act? बेटे, yes, you just do. You all of you remember, before starting the topic for revision, you just go through the summary of the topic. And after that, you come to the whole syllabus. So that will be easy for all of you. ठीक है? Sir, I have admitted in a CA now, sir. How should I prepare for November exam? You have sufficient time for a November exam. Definitely, we will discuss in this topic. So wait. Okay. So now time for most awaiting session. How to present in the exam. ठीक है? What is our mission? Actually, the law exam is of 60 marks, 40 marks of your business corresponding. So our target is how to secure 50 marks in the business. First, you decide the target. कहते हैं ना कि जीवन में पहले मंजिलें मुकर्रर की जाती हैं, रास्ते तो अपने आप मिल जाते हैं. First, the destinations are decided. Ways are second part. Automatically, you will get the ways to achieve your destination. You achieve your object. So today our motto is to secure 50 plus marks in your business law paper out of 60. Let's start the session with the old story. I think all of you have read this story, heard this story, but I'm just repeating. Once Dronacharya, just a moment. Once Duryodhan has asked his son, asked his guru, his teacher Dronacharya, that sir for favoring Arjuna and ignoring the rest. And to prove this wrong, Dronacharya placed a wooden bird on the branch and decided to put everyone through a simple test. He gathered all his subjects and asked him to strike the eye of the wooden bird. But before letting them set their arrow loose, he asked each one of them a question. He first called and asked Yudhishthira, the eldest of the Lord, "What do you see there?" To which Yudhishthira replied, "Sir, I see a wooden bird, the branch and tree, leaves moving and other birds." Everyone else who followed also mentioned the same element, tree, branch, bird, leaves, and Dronacharya asked them all to lay down their bow and arrow. When it was Arjuna's turn, he confidently said, "Sir, I can only see the eye of the bird. For me, you all are the Arjun." वो स्टोरी थी कि एक बार दुर्योधन ने द्रोणाचार्य को कहा कि सर आप केवल अर्जुन को ही फेवर करते हैं, बाकी छात्रों को इग्नोर कर देते हैं. तो ठीक है, मैं एक टेस्ट लेता हूं. उन्होंने पेड़ पर एक लकड़ी की चिड़िया बना के रख दी और कहा कि इस पे आपको निशाना लगा, इसकी आंख पे आपको निशाना लगाना है. सबसे पहले युधिष्ठिर को बुलाया और उन्हें कहा निशान लगाओ. युधिष्ठिर निशान लगाया. बोले रुक जाओ, पहले ये बताओ तुम्हें दिख क्या रहा है. युधिष्ठिर ने कहा कि सर मुझे चिड़िया, एक लकड़ी की चिड़िया दिख रही है, पेड़ के शाखाएं दिख रही हैं, पेड़ दिख रहा है, उनके पत्ते हिलते हुए दिख रहे हैं और भी बहुत सारी चिड़िया दिख रही हैं. इस तरह उन्होंने उसको रोक दिया और इस तरह से सारे छात्रों ने एक करके यही जवाब. लेकिन जब अर्जुन की बारी आई तो अर्जुन ने कहा कि मुझे तो केवल एक चिड़िया की आंख थी. Very old story, all of you have heard, but this is most important for your November or December, whatever be your attempt, your first step to enter into C. So our target is to get more than 50 plus marks out of 60 in law. Your bird's eye is the more than 50. I'm not like Dronacharya. I'm not and never be like Dronacharya, but all of you can be the Arjuna. So be confident and ready for the exam. Now come to the pattern. this is, I have taken the pattern of the May 2022 exam. In May 2022 exam, the pattern is so like this. Question 1 is compulsory and answer any 4 out of remaining 5. It means total 6 questions has been asked in the examination paper. 1 is compulsory and out of rest 5, only 4 have to be answered. So you have the choice of 1 question. Question 1 have 3 parts, 3 questions of 4 marks each. Question 2 have 2 questions of 7 and 5 marks. Question 3, question 3 in the 2 parts of 6 marks each. Same and the 4, same in the question number 4. 2 questions of 6 marks each, A and B. 2 questions, question number 5, 2 questions of 3 marks and 1 for 6 marks. Question number 6, 1 question of 5 marks and 1 of 4 marks and 1 of 3. So almost same pattern is asking in the exam for last from since the foundation has been started. And a question is, sir, how many descriptive questions, how many direct questions are asked? So I have prepared this chart for you, and this is also the same trend in the previous exams. In Contract Act, 2 questions direct, 1 for 7 marks and other for 5 marks. 2 descriptive questions, 4 and 6 marks. Total 22 marks has been asked from Indian Contract Act. Sale of Good Act 1930, 2 questions, 1 for 4 marks and for 6 marks for in a direct way. 1 descriptive question of 6 marks, 16 marks coverage. Same for Indian Partnership Act, 4 plus 4 plus 2 in direct questions and 1 6 marks question as a descriptive question. Total 16 marks coverage from Indian Partnership Act. Companies Act, 1 direct question of 6 marks, 1 question, 2 question descriptive, 1 for 4 marks and 1 for 3 marks. LLP, direct question has been asked of 5 marks. No descriptive question has been asked from this act. And total 39 marks is direct question and 33 of descriptive question. Total 72 marks question was there. Out of 12 marks is choice. So you have to attempt for 60 marks. Okay. So this is not the compulsory, but this is a pattern. This is a trend. What is asked in the previous exams. So almost the same pattern, about 20 to 20 marks in Contract Act, 15 to 60 marks in Sale of Good Act and Partnership Act, 13 to 50 marks, 13 to 50 marks, 15 marks in Companies Act, and about 5 marks in the LLP, right? Time management. This is the most important thing in for your exams, but also for your life. At least 2 revisions should be there before your exams. And at the time of revision, the important thing, you are able to find your weaknesses. If in the revision you cannot find your weakness, it means something is missing. Because when you find the weakness, you will reduce. आपको पता ही नहीं है आपकी कमियां क्या है, तो कम कैसे करें? जब भी आप रिवीजन करें तो इसमें कुछ ऐसा हेजिटेशन की बात नहीं है. अपनी कमियां फाइंड आउट करो, कहाँ कमी हो रही है, क्या चीज हम मिस कर रहे हैं. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड प्रिपेयर समरी ऑफ ईच चैप्टर फॉर फास्ट रिवीजन. दिस इज वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट. Listen, for Indian Contract Act, I will give you summary, but just you have to add the point which are important for your part. आपको जो लगता है बस ये चीज मेरे हिसाब से ऐड हो जानी चाहिए, तो वो समरी में आप ऐड कर सकते हैं, प्रिंट आउट देकर. ठीक है. One person is asking, sir, why question 1 is compulsory? But this is the pattern of exam. This is you should ask from ICI. Now, what is the direct question? Direct question means beta just like what is the meaning of so and so? Please define. ये direct question है. Practical problem आपके सामने है. This is descriptive question. Direct question means MCQ no. Direct question means something like please what is the essentials of Indian Contract Act? Define. This is a direct question. Sir, how many months does it will take to complete all syllabus? I think ma'am has in the first lecture has given the idea up to what time the syllabus will be completed. Sir, if we attempt all the 6 questions of paper of 72 marks and any negative marking is made by IC or not? No. If you attempt all the 6 questions, first 5 questions will be checked. Right? No negative marking. Yes, I will discuss the pattern. Please wait. Sir, how much time will be allotted to us? I think 3 hours paper. 3 hours will be for your 100 mark paper. Sir, can we use own words? But meaning should not be different. You can use your words, but meaning should not be different. Sir, exam में blue pen, wait. I am discussing. Key points important for your examination, preparation of notes. Notes should be quality. ऐसा ना हो कि एग्जाम के टाइम पे आप किसी दूसरे दोस्त के नोट्स मांगो. Practice caution in proper way. You please practice by writing the answers. That is really help in the writing speed. Time management. So if we're talking about time management, in my views, my own views, you must try to complete your law part in 2 hours and rest 1 hour for business corresponding. So if you have the 2 hours, it means you have 120 minutes to try to complete each question in 24 minutes. That is the time management. Use black pen for practice, but notes should be colorful. Actually, in exam, only black pen is allowed. So when you practice in writing the answers, you should use black pen. So that you find that what is your writing level. भैया जब भी प्रैक्टिस करो ना ब्लैक पेन से करो क्योंकि एग्जाम में ब्लैक पेन ही लिखना है. तो ब्लैक पेन से क्या होता है राइटिंग थोड़ी सी बिगड़ती है. तो एक बार प्रैक्टिस करके मालूम पड़ेगा कितने आप सही करना है राइटिंग में कितना इंप्रूवमेंट करना है. एंड ICI जो मॉक टेस्ट है you have to solve the mock test of ICI that will be uploaded by ICI on the website before the exam. Right? What to do in examination hall? Mock test is as per ICI guidelines. Sir, do we have to attempt exam with black pen? Yes. The question number 1 is compulsory. Is it descriptive or direct question? Maybe both because it has 3 parts. Maybe 2 or combination of 2 or 1. Sir, which color pen we use in exam? Only black. So law is new to me. Law is new for everyone. But the actuality is your life, rest of life will have to survive with law. So where will we find all previous lectures in recorded classes? You will find all the previous lectures. Sir, can we start from the last question to first question or first to last in any way? I will discuss with you. Okay. Sir, summary notes में रख दीजिएगा. I will share today the complete summary of Indian Contract Act. Don't worry. Can we use blue pen? No. Only black, black, black. Only black pen. Heading is also from black pen. Everything should be in black pen. Which type of pen? Any pen, but should be in black ink. My personal suggestion is that the pen should be of that ink which is waterproof. In the market, there are waterproof ink pen are also available. Sir, if the passing marks 40% be required in both law and business correspondence, or each subject we have to get 40 marks each, 40% marks each. I think it is complete, combined, total 40 marks. Sir, we can change order of the questions. Yes, you can change. सर राइटिंग स्ट्रेट लिखे या कर्सिव बेटा कुछ भी लिखो बस समझ में आनी चाहिए एग्जामिनर को तुमने क्या लिखा है. Only black pen. Pencil, no need. No, you cannot use pencil. Sir, we can draw some flowcharts in exam. No, no need. In law paper, you need not to prepare flowcharts. Sir, how much I have to write for 5 marks question? I think you should write in a 5 marks question. Actually, ICI is not demanding the quantity, it demanding quality. जितना भी आंसर है उतना ही लिखना है आपको. Sir, is law in intermediate? Is law in foundation, intermediate, final, and rest of your life? How to make notes? Just download the summaries of Indian Contract, which will be uploaded by me today. Then please add the points as per your choice, as per your requirement. It is important to carry calculator. नहीं important तो है. In exam that is allowed calculator. अगर आपको यूज नहीं करना तो मत कीजिए. वो allowed है. Sir, can we attempt sub parts of different questions? This is the important question. I will discuss definitely with you. Just wait. Sir, how to make answer sheet attractive? Right answer with the right section is only way. नो नीड टू मेक द सजावट नहीं करनी है उस पे. How to solve case study? Just wait, but I am taking. I think I should go through the PPT. In examination hall, first you have to be relaxed and say yourself that you know everything as you have revised your course 4 times. How? First, I have taken the class. Okay. Second, when you get ready for the test, so you get revision. First revision and before the test, daily test जो हम रखते हैं. Then 2 revisions before the exam, total 3 revisions, and 4th revision just 1 day before the exam. So you have revised the law 4 times. So don't need to be panic. आपको you know everything about law. But be relaxed. Read question paper carefully. This is important. What is asked, you must know. Select the question which you have to be solved first. Right? ऐसा नहीं है. This is not कि you have to attempt first question in the first time. मतलब first question, firstly you have to attempt the first question. You can opt for another question. Marking question number properly. This is important. See. Important thing is, let's see, you have to, for example, question number 2A है. Normally what is observed that student mention and question number 2B. So normally what observed that student mention first question number 2A इस तरह से mention करते हैं. Then after that they mention only B. This is not the proper way. You should again mention 2B, right? And one important thing, suppose in question number 1 there are 3 parts. 3 parts, A, B and C. You can shuffle these parts. Means you have to attempt first C first, then first A, then first B. It is okay. But you cannot attempt first A, then second B, then again first C. All the parts of one question should be in order. In order means one together. A, suppose क्वेश्चन 1 के 3 पार्ट है A, B, C. तो आप ये शफल कर सकते हैं आपस में. कैसे? कि पहले आपने 1C किया, then 1A किया, then 1B किया. ओके, ठीक है. लेकिन आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते कि आपने पहले 1A किया, then 2B, then 1C, then 2A. This is not. ठीक है. Please remember. Marking important. New question should be started from new page. Right? ये अपने एक हैबिट बना लो. New question should be started from new page. Mentioning section. Section. Suppose the question is based on the consideration. The section of consideration is section 2 clause D, right? So you mentioned that as per section 2 clause D of Indian Contract Act 1872, consideration means. But you remember that this is section 2, but which clause you not remembered. आपको ये तो याद है कि ये सेक्शन 2 का है डेफिनेशन, लेकिन क्लॉज डी था या सी था ये याद नहीं है. तो प्लीज डोंट राइट द कंफ्यूजिंग सेक्शन. जो आपको लगता है कंफ्यूजन है मत लिखिए. जस्ट टू राइट एज पर सेक्शन 2. ठीक है, एज पर सेक्शन 2. इफ यू थिंक दैट सेक्शन 2 इज मे बी और मे नॉट बी, तो प्लीज डोंट राइट द सेक्शन. यू जस्ट मेंशन एज पर द प्रोविजंस ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट. राइट? क्लियर इतनी बात? आगे बढ़ते हैं बच्चों। नाउ इंपॉर्टेंट इज प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चंस। सर, डू वी हैव टू यूज ब्लैक पेन फॉर ऑल पेपर्स? यस। Summary is not uploaded yet, but after this class I will upload. Sir, calculator is allowed in business exam. I think you should ask, वैसे तो allowed है, but you should ask the faculty of math or accounts, right? Sir, please give some examples, beta, of how to write full answer. Please wait. I will discuss 10 questions today with you. Okay. So when you have you have to answer the descriptive question that should be given in 3 parts. First is concern law provisions, facts of the case, and conclusion, right? So just we come to the example, then we will come on this slide. This is the example question number 1. Listen. This is based on the communication of acceptance. See the question, please read carefully. Mr. Pratham applied for a job as principal of a school, right? The school management decided to appoint him. One member of the school management committee privately informed Mr. Pratham that he was appointed, but official communication was not given from the school. Later, the management of the school decided to appoint someone else as principal. Mr. Pratham filed a suit against the school for cancellation of his appointment and claimed damages for the loss of salary. State with reason, will Mr. Pratham will be successful in filing of suit against the school? क्या क्वेश्चन है बच्चों? मिस्टर प्रथम ने अपने स्कूल में एक स्कूल में प्रिंसिपल की जॉब के लिए अप्लाई किया. स्कूल के मैनेजमेंट ने डिसाइड किया कि उन्हें अपॉइंट करेंगे, लेकिन कोई उनको इन्फॉर्म नहीं किया गया. एक कमेटी के मेंबर ने प्राइवेटली प्रथम को इन्फॉर्म कर दिया कि चिंता मत करो यार, तुम्हारा अपॉइंटमेंट होने वाला है, तुम्हारा अपॉइंटमेंट हो गया. लेकिन बाद में कमेटी ने डिसाइड किया कि हम उनको नहीं, प्रथम को नहीं, किसी और को अपॉइंट करेंगे, और उनको अपॉइंट कर दिया गया. प्रथम को जब ये मालूम पड़ा कि भाई उसे अपॉइंट नहीं किया गया है, तो उसने सूट फाइल कर दिया कि साहब मुझे तो पहले अपॉइंट कर दिया गया था, अब उसने टाइप में सैलरी चाहिए, आपने मुझे हटा के. क्या प्रथम ये केस जीत सकता है? ये हमारा क्वेश्चन है. So now this is the practical problem, descriptive question, and you have to answer in 3 parts. First, concern law provisions. Second, facts of the case. Third, conclusion. Facts of the case, you have to write the problem in summary way. In brief, you have to write the problem. In conclusion, you have to write the decision, what should be the decision. And in first part, concern law provision, you have to mention the law provision which are connected with this problem. On which basis you are giving the answer. First part में हमें उस लॉ के प्रोविजंस लिखने हैं जिनके बेसिस पर आप ये आंसर कर रहे हैं. सेकेंड पार्ट, फैक्ट्स ऑफ द केस में इसी प्रॉब्लम के आपको फैक्ट लिखने हैं, यानी कि एक तरीके से कहा जाए तो समरी में आपको प्रॉब्लम को लिखना है. थर्ड में कंक्लूजन, देन आपको डिसीजन लेना है. तो अगर हम इस प्रॉब्लम की बात करें, इफ वी टॉक विद अबाउट दिस descriptive question, what should be the answer? The answer should be like that, sir, as the no communication of offer is given to Mr. Pratham by the committee, the contract was not complete, है ना? But what is the law says? What is the presentation way? Please read. Concerned law provisions. As per the rule of acceptance, the acceptance should be communicated to the offerer by offeree himself or his authorized agent. Communication of acceptance by third party cannot be concluded invalid acceptance. This was also confirmed in case of Powell versus Lee. Therefore, to form a valid contract, acceptance should be properly communicated. Right? No, look, if you not remember the case of Powell versus Lee, so you need not to write. You just write, as per the rules of acceptance, acceptance should be communicated to the offerer by the offeree himself or by agent. Communication by third person is not a valid acceptance. Clear? Now, what are the facts? Mr. Pratham applied for a job as a principal of the school. The school management decided to appoint him, but no official communication was given from the school. Rather, one member of the school management committee privately informed Mr. Pratham that he was appointed. The management of the school appointed someone else as a principal. Mr. Pratham filed a suit against the school for cancellation of his appointment and claimed damages for the loss of salary. So these were the facts. This was the summary of the case. The problem before you. Please read carefully. Now, what is the conclusion? On the basis of above provisions and facts, communication of appointment of Mr. Pratham should be made by the school management or any authorized agent. The communication by third person cannot be termed as communication of acceptance. Therefore, there is no valid contract was formed between Mr. Pratham and the school. Mr. Pratham cannot file a suit against the school for cancellation of his appointment. So this was the case, but you notice I have mentioned a space under conclusion. Please, you have to answer everything in black ink. So you have to highlight the heading. I have just leave the space under the heading. So you can do so, so that the heading can be find out by the examiner easily. Let's take another problem. This is the contract without consideration based problem. Question number 2. Mr. Ramlal Birla was a big businessman of city Pune, having 2 sons and 1 married daughter. He decided to gift his house to his daughter. For this purpose, he called his lawyer at his house and made a written document for such gift. The lawyer advised him to get the transfer document properly registered. When they both were going for the registration document, they met an accident and both died. Later, the daughter found the document and claimed the house on the basis of that document. Explain whether she can get the house as gift under the Indian Contract Act 1872. केस क्या है? रामलाल बिरला है, एक बिजनेसमैन, पुणे में रहते हैं, 2 बेटे हैं, 1 बेटी है. उन्होंने डिसाइड किया कि अपनी डॉटर को एक अपना घर गिफ्ट करेंगे और इसकी एडवाइस लेने के लिए उन्होंने अपने लॉयर को बुलाया. लॉयर ने कहा कि भाई आप रिटन डॉक्यूमेंट बनवाइए और साथ में एडवाइस किया कि भैया ये डॉक्यूमेंट जो है ट्रांसफर के प्रॉपर्ली रजिस्टर्ड होने चाहिए. बट जब वो रजिस्टर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट लिख गए, बन गए, लेकिन जब वो रजिस्ट्रेशन कराने जा रहे थे तो रास्ते में एक्सीडेंट हुआ और वो दोनों लोग, मिस्टर बिरला एंड द एडवोकेट, डाइड. दोनों लोग मर गए. डॉक्यूमेंट रजिस्टर्ड नहीं हो पाए. बाद में डॉक्टर को वो डॉक्यूमेंट मिले तो उसने क्लेम किया कि ये घर मेरा होना चाहिए, पिताजी ने लिख के दिया हुआ है. तो लॉ का क्वेश्चन ये है कि क्या इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट के अकॉर्डिंग जो डॉटर है वो घर क्लेम कर सकती है? रिमेंबर द प्रोविजंस, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विदाउट कंसिडरेशन, anything given as gift on account of natural love and affection should be by written and registered document. Written and registered document. So answer is no, she cannot claim the house as gift. But how to present this one line answer? This is important for your exam. So please read the problem once again. Come to the solution. First heading, concern law provisions. Section 25 of Indian Contract Act 1872 provides that an agreement without consideration is valid if it is expressed in writing and registered under the law for the time being in force, or registration of document and is made on account of natural love and affection between parties standing in near relation to each other. In other words, a written and registered agreement based on the natural love and affection between the parties standing in near relation to each other is enforceable even without consideration. What is the important? Written and registered. Right? Facts of the case. Mr. Ramlal Birla, having two sons and one married daughter, decided to gift his house to his daughter. He made a transfer document, but before the registration, Mr. Ramlal Birla died in an accident. Later, the daughter found the documents and claimed for the house. Conclusion. In the given problem, the transfer of house made by Mr. Ramlal Birla on account of natural love and affection between the parties standing in near relation to each other is written, but not registered. And the transfer is not enforceable. Daughter cannot claim the. Someone is of you is asking, sir, calculator is allowed in business law exam. क्या करेगा बेटा कैलकुलेटर का? मुझे तो समझ ही नहीं आ रहा तेरी बात का. पेपर में व्हाइटनर यूज कर सकते हैं, ऐसा कुछ इंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं कर सकते हैं, नहीं कर सकते हैं. नो इंस्ट्रक्शन. Answer sheet will be lined or plain. It should be lined, beta. Sir, can we start new question from new page whether the last page remaining half blank? Yes. If only you have mentioned 2 lines, even that you can use the new, you can start the new question from new page. Sir, where we can get MTP and RTP from the ICI website? Sir, what was your schedule for study when you were preparing for CA foundation? बेटा मुझे तो याद नहीं, बहुत पुरानी बात हो. Phone is allowed? No. Phone is allowed in examination hall? No, बिल्कुल भी नहीं. फोन तो घर में भी नहीं होना चाहिए. पढ़ाई के लिए, सिर्फ पढ़ाई के लिए यूज होता है, हो जाए. जब पढ़ रहे हो तो फोन का पढ़ाई के अलावा कोई इस्तेमाल नहीं करना है, अगर सीए बनना है तो. सर, किस टॉपिक से कितना याद करना पड़ता है? पूरा टॉपिक ही याद करना पड़ता है. रेड पेन बेटा, फिर अगर आप रेड पेन यूज कर लोगे तो एग्जामिनर क्या यूज करेगा? Telegram group for doubt, query and solution. I think this should, you should coordinate to ICI. You should send your query to ICI, then I will reply. अच्छी अच्छी प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं आप लोगों की. मन की सारी प्रॉब्लम पूछो जो है. हाउ मेनी शीट्स विल बी देयर इन आंसर बुक्स? बेटा मुझे नहीं पता, लेकिन आप जितना आपको चाहिए उतनी मिल जाएंगी, डोंट वरी। Conclusion में on the basis, can we start like this? Yes, you can start like this on the basis of above provisions and facts. Sir, can we leave a gap down the heading in the all the lines of answer like question? I think केवल one line gap is sufficient. Sir, is it compulsory to write conclusion in each and every descriptive question? Yes, that is the answer, beta. You have to write the conclusion. Okay. और आगे बढ़ते हैं। Paper reading time, I think ICI will provide the guidelines for that. Someone is asking, sir, there is any time for paper reading? I think ICI will provide the guidelines. Sir, can we use highlighter in exam? I think you should not use. सर पैटर्न देखकर कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ रहा है। अरे कॉन्फिडेंस 100% बढ़ेगा बेटा, डोंट वरी। Important question one from your side, sir. If I wrote all questions in sequence, all the 6 questions, and I got more marks in 6 question than second question, then what will be considered, second or 6? Second will be considered. From where we will get admit card? From site you will get admit card, your login ID से। Any wrong checking problem? There is no such wrong checking problem. Okay. So I'm taking one more question, then we will have the break of 5 minutes. And after that, we will complete the rest of the topic. Question number 3, Mr. Shekhar wants to sell his car. For this purpose, he appoints Mr. Nadan, a minor, as his agent. Mr. Shekhar instructs Mr. Nadan that car should not be sold at a price less than 1 lakh. Mr. Nadan ignores the instruction of Mr. Shekhar and sells the car to Mr. Masoom for rupees 80,000. Explain the legal position of contract under Indian Contract Act, whether the Mr. Shekhar can recover the loss of 20,000 from Mr. Nadan or Mr. Shekhar can recover his car from Mr. Masoom. क्या केस है? मिस्टर शेखर को अपनी कार बेचनी है, उसने एक माइनर को अपॉइंट किया एज हिज एजेंट और माइनर से कहा भैया 1 लाख से कम में गाड़ी मत बेचियो, लेकिन माइनर ने क्या किया, गाड़ी मिस्टर मासूम को 80,000 में बेच दी। तो 2 क्वेश्चन बने, क्या जो लॉस हुआ 20,000 का मिस्टर शेखर को वो नादान से यानी माइनर से क्लेम कर सकते हैं? दूसरा, क्या वो अपनी कार क्लेम कर सकते हैं मासूम से? ठीक है, तो स्टार्ट करते हैं प्रॉब्लम। According to the provisions of Section 11 of Indian Contract Act 1872, a minor is disqualified from contracting. A contract with minor is void ab initio. However, minor can act as an agent, but he will not be liable to his principal for his acts. Mr. Shekhar appoints Mr. Nadan, a minor, or as his agent to sell his car. Mr. Shekhar clearly instructed to Mr. Nadan that minimum sale price of the car should be 1 lakh. Yet Mr. Nadan sold the car to Mr. Masoom for rupees 80,000. Conclusion. दो पार्ट हैं, क्वेश्चन दो थे, दो ही कंक्लूजन होने चाहिए. There are two questions, so conclusion should be in two parts. First, A point. Considering the facts, although the contract between Mr. Shekhar and Mr. Nadan is valid, Mr. Nadan will not be liable to his principal for his acts. Hence, Mr. Shekhar cannot claim the loss of 20,000. Further, Mr. Masoom purchased the car from the agent of Mr. Shekhar. He got a good title. Good title means good ownership. Hence, Mr. Shekhar cannot recover his car from Mr. Masoom. Clear? Please read. So at this place, we are taking the break of 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we will rejoin and complete the rest of the questions. Okay. Mr. Amit sir. Amit sir, please give the break of 5 minutes. Welcome back, bachcho. Sir, is there any wrong checking problem? No, there is no such a case. Sir, where we will give the exam, examination center are defined. When you file the, you will submit the examination form. You will get the examination center list of examination centers. Sir, these are your trophies. Those are your trophies at the back. Yes, beta, these are just a simple but sample. बहुत सारी trophies है मेरे पास. But I wish, I pray, my blessings are with you that you all of get more trophies in your life. Sir, what is MTP and RTP? MTP mock test paper, RTP revision test paper that will be available on the ICI website. सर जब हम एग्जाम में केस लिखेंगे तब दिस हेडिंग विल यूज देयर. यस डेफिनेटली. Some tips for learning law. The simple tip is just to practice. You have to revise again and again. Definitely you will clear your exam. You will remember the law. The law is very interesting topic, interesting subject, I think. Sir, we have to underline the heading in the pencil. Sir, we have to line the headline in the pencil for highlighting. No, you can use black pen or pen. Sir, only notes be enough to study law. Yani, you must go through the study module of the ICI, definitely. Sir, minimum कितने hours की sleep होनी चाहिए? I think you must sleep for 6 to 7 hours. Subhashi is asking, sir, how to study without feeling sleepy? Just drink water again and again. Definitely you will be relaxed. Don't worry. सौरभ सर कंप्लीट कैसे करें पूरा पेपर? बेटा प्रैक्टिस करो, अब डेफिनेटली आपको एक हैबिट आ जाएगी टाइमली मैनेज करने की. डोंट वरी. बाकी लोगों ने भी किया तो आप भी कर पाओगे यार. Sir, can we underline the important points of the answer with black pen? Yes, you can underline. Sir, in the first question, can Pratham file the suit against third person? No, he cannot file. He just informed. Sir, how many marks in total we need to clear foundation exam? The examination is 400 marks. So you need at least 200 marks. और क्या बच्चा बच्चों रिपीटिंग हो रही है आप लोगों की प्रॉब्लम. बेटा बहुत रिपीट कर रहे हो. Sir, answer sheet will be like copy or simple paper. It will be like copy. I think 12 or 16 marks papers, copy of 12 or 16 marks. I'm not exactly clear about it. Sir, exam will be under our city or outside our city. It depends करता है center कौन सा choose करते हैं. सर वन टाइम रिवीजन करने से 40 मार्क्स आएगा कि नहीं, ये तो डिपेंड करता है पर दिमाग कैसा है. Sir, in how many attempts you clear the foundation? I cleared in first attempt. ये तो मुझे याद है. सर हेडिंग लिखनी है कंक्लूजन और एंड फैक्ट्स की, यस प्लीज गिव द आंसर प्रॉपरली विथ प्रॉपर हेडिंग. Sir, we will give exams in ICI Bhavan. No, the center will be mentioned when you submit the exemption form. Is it useful to solve MCQ for conceptual clarity? Yes, you can. You should practice the MCQ also. आप लोग क्वेरी देख रहा हूँ कितनी रिपीट हो रही है बच्चों. कितने आवर्स स्टडी करने होंगे लॉ पे बेटा डिपेंड करता है अपने अपने बच्चे अपने ऊपर कितना आप कितने टाइम में आप कवर कर सकते हो. ये तो हर बच्चे का अलग, हर बच्चे की अलग क्वालिटी होती है. हर बच्चा अपना डिसाइड करता है कितने टाइम में वो कंप्लीट कर पाएगा. Sir, if we don't mention section, marks will be deducted. You cannot say like that, but you can say if you mention the correct section, you will get extra marks. Okay. Sir, how can I get more trophies like you? Beta, you have wait. You will get definitely more trophies than me. Wait. टाइम समय करो. आपकी धीरे धीरे जब सीए बन जाओगे डेफिनेटली कुछ ना कुछ आपके साथ जीवन में अच्छा होता रहेगा. पर बिजनेस लॉ इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग सब्जेक्ट. डेफिनेटली मैं तो कहता हूँ बच्चों शुरू से ही इससे इंटरेस्टिंग कुछ है ही नहीं. आगे बढ़े. चलो भैया अब आगे बढ़ते हैं, थोड़ा सा क्वेश्चन लेते हैं. क्वेश्चन नंबर 4. Chandan was suffering from some disease and was in great pain. He went to Dr. Junjunwala, whose consultation fees was rupees 300. The doctor agreed to treat him, but on the condition that Chandan had to sign a promissory note of rupees 5,000 payable to doctor. Chandan signed the promissory note and gave it to a doctor. On recovering from the deceased, Chandan refused to honor the promissory note. State with reason, can doctor recover the amount of promissory note under the provisions of Indian Contract Act? चंदन को बीमारी थी, बहुत दर्द हो रहा था. डॉक्टर झुंझुनवाला के पास गया जिनकी फीस थी 300 रुपए. लेकिन जब डॉक्टर ने देखा कि इसको परेशानी ज्यादा है तो उन्होंने ठीक है बेटा आप ऐसा करो 5,000 रुपए का प्रॉमिसरी नोट साइन कर दो. चंदन ने साइन तो कर दिया, उसमें मजबूरी थी. लेकिन जब वो सही हो गया उसने पेमेंट करने से मना कर दिया. अब क्वेश्चन ये है, क्या इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट के प्रोविजन फॉलो करते हुए डॉक्टर झुंझुनवाला उस प्रॉमिसरी नोट का पेमेंट क्लेम कर सकते हैं? सीधा आंसर. Concerned law provisions, Section 16 of Indian Contract Act 1872 provide that a contract is said to be induced by undue influence, where the relations subsisting between the parties are such that one of the parties is in position to dominate the will of other and uses that position to obtain the unfair advantage over the other. Further, a person is deemed to be in position to dominate the will of other where he holds a real or apparent authority over the other or where he stands in fiduciary relation to the other, or where he makes a contract with the person whose mental capacity is temporarily or permanently affected by reason of age, illness, or mental or bodily distress. Section 19, capital A provides that when the consent to the agreement is caused by undue influence, the agreement is in contract voidable at the option of the party whose consent was so caused. Any such contract may be set aside either absolutely or if the party who is entitled to avoid it has received any benefit thereunder upon such terms and conditions as the court may seem just and equal. Please read the facts of the case, provisions of the law carefully. Facts of the case. Chandan went to Dr. Jhunjhunwala for treatment of his great pain. The consultation fees of the doctor was 300. His doctor agreed to give treatment, but a promissory note of 5,000 payable to doctor. Chandan signed the promissory note. On recovering from the deceased, Chandan refused to honor the promissory note. From the facts of the case, Chandan signed the promissory note under undue influence applied by doctor. Hence, Dr. Jhunjhunwala cannot recover the amount of promissory note, but can claim his normal consultation fees from the church. Please read. Fraud section 17 पर क्वेश्चन बेस्ड है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 5. Kapil went to a departmental store to purchase a steel pen. He asked the salesman about the area in departmental store where steel pens were kept. The salesman indicated him the area with instruction that the steel pens and other metals pen were also kept. Kapil wrongfully picked an aluminum pen in place of steel pen. The salesman watched but said nothing to Kapil. Kapil reached his house and found that pen was not a steel pen but actually an aluminum pen. Kapil filed a suit against the departmental store for fraud. Discuss whether Kapil was eligible to file suit for fraud against departmental store under Indian Contract Act 1872. कपिल एक डिपार्टमेंटल स्टोर में जाते हैं जहां उन्हें एक स्टील का बर्तन खरीदना है, पेन. वो सेल्समैन से पूछते हैं भैया स्टील पेन कहाँ रखे हुए हैं. सेल्समैन कहता है सर वहां, एरिया बताता है कि जब वहां रखे हुए हैं, लेकिन आप ध्यान रखिएगा वहां पर स्टील पेन के साथ और मेटल के पेन भी रखे हुए हैं. कपिल ने गलती से एल्युमिनियम पेन पिक कर लिया इन प्लेस ऑफ स्टील पेन. सेल्समैन ने देखा लेकिन कुछ कहा नहीं. कपिल जब घर पहुंचा वहां पर उसने देखा कि ये पेन तो एल्युमिनियम का है, स्टील का नहीं है. उसने डिपार्टमेंटल स्टोर के अगेंस्ट फ्रॉड का केस फाइल किया. क्या कपिल ये केस जीत पाएगा? क्वेश्चन यही है, सोचिए. See, so you have to mention section 17 here because the question is based on section 17, or you have to also mention silence provisions, silence provision about fraud. See, section 17 of Indian Contract Act 1872 defines fraud. According to section, fraud means and includes any of the following acts committed by a party to a contract or by his agent with intent to deceive or to induce a person to enter into the contract. The suggestion as a fact of that which is not true, but by one who does not believe it to be true, that is false statement. The active concealment of fact by one having knowledge or belief of the fact, a promise made without any intention of performing it, any other act fitted to deceive, any such act or omission as the law specifically declared to be fraudulent. It was also mentioned, explained that mere silence is not fraud. Silence amounts to fraud where there is duty to speak or where silence is equivalent to speech. Provisions. Read the provisions. Couple went to departmental store to purchase a steel pen. The salesman indicated him the area with instruction that with steel pens, other metal pens were also kept. Couple wrongfully picked an aluminum pen. The salesman watched but realized his mistake. Thereafter, couple found that pen was an aluminum pen. Couple filed a suit against the departmental store for fraud. On the basis of provisions of section 17 and the facts given above, it was not the duty of the salesman to inform Mr. Kapil about his mistake. Hence, there was no fraud and Kapil was not eligible to file the suit for fraud against the departmental store under Indian Contract Act 1872. Clear? यहाँ पर क्या है, साइलेंस ना इक्वल टू स्पीच नहीं है, ना ड्यूटी है बताने की. So there is no fraud from the side of departmental store. Next problem, question number 6. Unlawful contract. Mr. Seth, an industrialist, has been fighting a long-drawn litigation with Mr. Raman, another industrialist. To support his legal campaign, Mr. Seth enlisted the service of Mr. X, a legal expert, stating that an amount of rupees 5 lakh would be paid if Mr. X does not take up the case of Mr. Raman. Mr. X agrees, but at the end of the litigation, Mr. Seth refused to pay. Decide whether Mr. X can recover the amount promised by Mr. Seth under the provisions of Indian Contract Act. Mr. Seth और Mr. Raman के बीच एक मुकदमा चल रहा है. मिस्टर सेठ ने फाइंड आउट की कितने एक्सपर्ट हैं लीगल, तो मालूम पड़ा मिस्टर एक्स भी लीगल एक्सपर्ट है. उनसे कांटेक्ट किया, भैया मैं आपको 5 लाख रुपए दूंगा लेकिन आप रमन का केस नहीं दोगे. मिस्टर एक्स ने ओके किया. जब केस खत्म हो गया तो मिस्टर सेठ ने पैसा देने से मना कर दिया. क्वेश्चन ये है, क्या मिस्टर एक्स लीगल एक्सपर्ट जो है वो मिस्टर सेठ से 5 लाख रुपए ले सकते हैं, क्लेम कर सकते हैं? तो व्हाट द लॉ सेज, Section 27 of Indian Contract Act 1872 says, an agreement by which any person is restrained from exercising a lawful profession, trade or business of any kind is to that extent void. It is explained that where a person sells the goodwill of a business and agrees with the buyer to refrain from carrying out a similar business within the specified local limit, so long as the buyer or his successor in the interest carries on a like business therein, such an agreement is valid, provided that such limits appear to the court reasonable, regard being had to the nature of the business. Simple सी बात कही गई कि किसी आदमी को व्यापार करने से रोकने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो होता है वो क्या होता है, वॉइड होता है, अनलॉफुल होता है. लेकिन अगर गुडविल बेच दी है तो पर्टिकुलर एरिया में आप बिजनेस नहीं करेंगे, ये वैलिड होता है. ये हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. तो यही तो हमारे प्रोविजंस हो गए. फैक्ट्स, Mr. Seth is in litigation with Mr. Raman since long. To Mr. Seth contacted to Mr. X, a legal expert, for rupees 5 lakh would be paid if Mr. X does not take up the case of Mr. Raman. Mr. X agrees, but at the end of the litigation, Mr. Seth refused to pay. Conclusion. As Section 27 makes the contract in the extent of trade void, and contract between Mr. Seth and Mr. X is also void. Hence, Mr. X cannot recover the amount promised by Mr. Seth. Please read. सर चेकिंग हार्ड होती है या इजी? चेकिंग ना हार्ड होती है ना इजी होती है, एक्चुअल चेकिंग होती है. जो लिखा होगा उसी पर नंबर मिलेंगे बच्चों. सर आंसर गलत हो जाए तो कैसे करेक्ट करें? सिर्फ एक लाइन से क्रॉस कर दीजिए, कोई वर्ड गलत दिख तो लाइन से क्रॉस कर दीजिए। सर डिफरेंस बिटवीन द आईपीसी एंड दिस लॉ, नॉट गेटिंग वो। आईपीसी की लॉ में इसमें क्या फर्क है? दोनों अलग लॉ है बेटे, इससे क्या फर्क पड़ना है आपको? इस वैल्यू ऑफ डिपेंड फर्स्ट और सेकंड अटेम्प्ट, फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट सेकंड अटेम्प्ट में निकलने को कोई वैल्यू चेंज होती है? मुझे लगता है जो मेरे अपनी थिंकिंग है, सीए बनने में कोई ये नहीं पूछता कितने अटेम्प्ट में निकले थे आप, दो चार कोई ऐसा पूछ लेता पागल करने की बातें, पर नॉर्मली इफ यू आर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट दैट्स ओके। Sir, business communication reporting is easy or not? Everything is easy in CA, I think. चलो भैया आगे बढ़ते हैं, बच्चों की प्रॉब्लम तो आती रहेंगी, पर रिपीट मत करो यार प्रॉब्लम्स को, है ना? बड़ा मुश्किल हो रहा है, कोई एक आध मैसेज आती है बच्चे परेशान होते हैं, आप लोग परेशान हो जाते हैं। Someone is saying, sir, Mr. Turpathan, sir, actually law is not easy, but the way you taught us, sir, made it easy for us. No, but law is very easy. Surya Kumar is saying, sir, 14 hours are sufficient to read for getting 350 marks in CA Foundation. बेटा अभी आप 14 घंटे पढ़ लोगे तो फाइनल में कहां से लाओगे बाकी घंटे पढ़ने के लिए? और ज्यादा होगा। एक बच्चा पूछ रहा है, सर व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ अनड्यू इन्फ्लुएंस? बेटा ऐसा क्वेश्चन पूछो, मैं पढ़ा चुका हूँ, कितना डिटेल में पढ़ाया था मैंने, ऐसा मत करो बच्चों मेरे, 4th लेक्चर में सब चीज कराई थी। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस, Mr. Singhania entered into a contract with Mr. Sonu to sing in his hotel for 6 weeks on every Saturday and Sunday, for which Mr. Singhania promised to pay 20,000 for every performance. The Sonu performed for 2 weeks, but on 3rd week his health condition was very bad, so he did not come to sing. Mr. Singhania terminated the contract. State, in the light of provisions of Indian Contract Act, can Mr. Singhania terminate the contract with Mr. Sonu? What would be your answer in case Mr. Sonu turns up in the 4th week and Mr. Singhania allow him to perform without saying anything? What would be your answer in case Mr. Sonu sends Mr. Mika on his place in 3rd week and Mr. Singhania allows him to perform without saying anything? Please read the question carefully बच्चों मेरे। मिस्टर सिंघानिया ने मिस्टर सोनू को हायर किया कि आप हर सैटरडे संडे 6 वीक तक मेरे होटल में आप गाना गाएंगे और हर परफॉर्मेंस पे आपको 20,000 रुपए देंगे। सोनू ने 2 वीक गाना गाया, 1 वीक उसकी तबीयत खराब हो गई, इतनी खराब थी वो गाना नहीं गा पाया। मिस्टर सिंघानिया ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को कैंसिल कर दिया। तो पहला क्वेश्चन, क्या सिंघानिया ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कैंसिल कर सकते हैं? दूसरा क्वेश्चन, 4th वीक में 4th वीक में सोनू वापस आ गए और सिंघानिया ने कुछ नहीं कहा, उसे अलाउ कर दिया। थर्ड पार्ट, सोनू ने अपनी जगह पर मीका को भेज दिया और मीका को सिंघानिया ने अलाउ कर दिया विदाउट सिंगिंग, कुछ निकाले अलाउ कर दिया। अब इस सिचुएशन में क्या होगा? व्हाट वुड बी द आंसर? सी। According to Section 40 of Indian Contract Act, if it appears from the nature of the case where it was the intention of the parties to any contract that any promise contained in it should be performed by the promiser himself, such promise must be performed by the promiser. Section 41 provides that when a promisee accepts performance of the promise from third person, he cannot afterwards enforce it against the promiser. So facts of the case, Mr. Singhania contracted Mr. Sonu to sing in his hotel for 6 weeks on every Saturday and Sunday. Mr. Sonu performed for 2 weeks, but on third week he could not perform. He could not perform due to his very bad health condition. Mr. Singhania terminated the contract. First, A point. Mr. A. Sonu could not perform as per the contract, so Mr. Singhania can terminate the contract. This is okay. In second situation, as Mr. Singhania allowed Mr. Sonu to perform in his fourth week without saying anything, by conduct Mr. Singhania had given his consent to continue the contract. Now Mr. Singhania cannot terminate the contract, however, he can claim damages from Mr. Sonu. And in third point, in case Mr. Singhania allows Mr. Mika to perform in his third week without saying anything, by conduct Mr. Singhania had given his consent for performance by third party. Now Mr. Singhania cannot terminate the contract nor can claim any damages from Mr. पहले केस में सोनू ने परफॉर्म नहीं किया, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कैंसिल हो सकता है. दूसरे केस में सोनू को चौथे हफ्ते में अलाउ कर दिया. इट मीन सिंघानिया ने उसे कंसेंट दे दी कि भैया तुम काम करो, लेकिन वो तीसरे वीक में नहीं आया. उसके लिए मिस्टर सिंघानिया कॉम्पनसेशन क्लेम कर सकते हैं. तीसरे केस में सोनू ने अपनी जगह मीका को भेज दिया. सोनू ने अपनी जगह पर मीका को भेज दिया, लेकिन सिंघानिया जी ने उसे अलाउ कर दिया. इट मींस अब सिंघानिया कॉन्ट्रैक्ट टर्मिनेट नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि उन्होंने थर्ड पार्टी के परफॉर्मेंस को एक्सेप्ट कर. राइट. 8th क्वेश्चन ऑन डिस्चार्ज ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. Mr. Ramaswamy is a trader of food grains. He entered into a contract with Krishna for supply of 500 tons of MP wheat at a price of 30,000 per ton to be supplied after 6 months. On the date of performance, there become an unexpected rise in the price of MP wheat and price went to 55,000 per ton. Ramaswamy repudiated the contract by saying that it is impossible for him to supply the goods at agreed price as it would result a heavy loss to him. Perhaps he has to close his business due to such great loss. State with reason, can Ramaswamy repudiate the contract under the provisions of Indian Contract Act? Read the problem. Sir, it is compulsory to write facts or divide answer in 3 parts. It is not compulsory, but it is the suggestion for better presentation. Okay. सर आपको सीए बने कितना टाइम हो गया? I become the chartered accountant on 13 January 2003. Okay, 13 January 2003. Sir, can we clear these exams with notes? Again repeating, beta, please go through the notes, but also please also go through the study module of the ICI. It is very much important. Sir, ITR क्या होता है? ITR इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न होता है बेटा. Sir, how we can clear all stages of CA in first attempt? Just go to study. Study के अलावा कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है मेरे बच्चे. Sir, will Mr. Singhania pay Mika for third week? Definitely has to pay as per the contract with Mr. Sonu. सर हम लोगों को बीसीआर से स्टार्ट करना चाहिए एग्जाम में या लॉ से? आई थिंक ये डिपेंड करता है आपको क्या अच्छा समझ में आया, क्या आप अच्छे हैं, जिस आपको अच्छा आता है, जो अच्छा आता है वो करो आप पहले. सर प्लीज इंट्रोड्यूस अस योर ट्रॉफीज. बेटा मुझे तो याद भी नहीं कब कब कौन सी मिली है, क्या हुआ इससे जान के. पढ़ते हैं बेटा। सेक्शन 56 Section 56 of Indian Contract Act provides that if the performance of a contract becomes impossible after being entered, the contract becomes void. The subsequent impossibility may take place owing to an unforeseen change in law, the destruction of the subject matter essential to that performance, the non-existence of a state of things, the declaration of war. There are some exceptions to the impossibility. Difficulty of possibility does not amount to impossibility. Commercial impossibility does not render a contract void. Strike, lockout, civil disturbance, non-performance by third party does not absolve the promisor from his liability. ये provisions हैं जिनके बेसिस पे हमें आंसर करना। Facts of the case: Ramaswamy contracted with Krishna for supply of 500 tons MP wheat at a price of 30,000 per ton to be supplied after 6 months. On the date of performance, the price had gone to rupees 55,000 per ton. Ramaswamy repudiated the contract by saying that it is impossible for him to supply the goods at agreed price as it would result a great loss to him. Now, what is the conclusion? On the basis of the facts of the problem, sale on the heavy loss is a commercial impossibility and cannot be said impossibility to perform the contract. Hence, Ramaswamy has to supply the MP wheat, otherwise Krishna can claim the compensation, that is damages, from Ramaswamy at rupees 25,000 per ton. The difference between 55,000 and the 30,000. Ninth question. Breach of the contract. Mr. Murthy was traveling to Manali with his wife by bus of Himalaya Travels Private Limited. Due to some technical default in the bus, the driver has to stop the bus in a midway in the cold night. Driver advised the passenger to get the shelter in nearest hotel, which was at the distance of only 1 kilometer from that place. The wife of Mr. Murthy caught cold and fell ill due to being asked to get down, and she had to walk in the cold night to reach hotel. Mr. Murthy filed the suit against Mrs. Himalaya Travels Private Limited for the damages for personal inconvenience, hotel charge, and medical treatment for his wife. Explain whether Mr. Murthy would get compensation for his which he filed the suit. Please read the problem. C. Provisions. Section 73 of Indian Contract Act 1872 provides that when a contract has been broken, the party who suffered by such breach is entitled to receive from such breach, or which the parties knew when they made the contract to be likely to result from the breach of it. But such compensation is not to be given for any remote or indirect loss or damages sustained by reason of the. There is no provision to claim the indirect or remote loss. Facts of the case. Mr. Murthy was going to Manali with his wife due to some technical default in the bus. The bus was stopped. Mr. Murthy and his wife had to take shelter in a hotel which was 1 kilometer for which they had to walk from that place to hotel in cold night. Mr. Murthy became sick and Mrs. Murthy became sick, and Mr. Murthy filed the suit against Mrs. Himalaya Travels Private Limited for damages for personal inconvenience, hotel charges and the medical treatment for his wife. On the basis of our provision, it can be said that Mr. Murthy can claim damages for personal inconvenience and hotel charges, but not for medical treatment for his wife because it is a remote or indirect. Clear? Last question. Mr. Deviram had an open shop of puri aloo bhaji in front of Sai Temple. Mr. Nitesh came to temple and saw a huge rush outside the temple eating puri aloo bhaji. Nitesh presumed it at Bhandara. It a Bhandara where puri bhaji was distributing free of cost. Nitesh also asked Mr. Deviram for puri puji bhaji and he gave it to Nitesh. When Nitesh had eaten, Deviram demanded the price for that puri aloo bhaji. Nitesh, surprised, replied that he would not pay anything, as he thinking it is Bhandara. Now can Deviram claim the price of puri bhaji from the Nitesh under Indian Contract Act 1872? See the answer. By virtue of provisions of Section 70 of Indian Contract Act 1872, where a person lawfully does anything for another person or delivers anything to him, not intending to do gratuitously, and such other person enjoy the benefit thereof, the latter is bound to make compensation to the former in respect of or to restore the things so done at. अगर कोई आदमी कोई चीज बिगर किसी फ्री ऑफ देने कोई इसकी इच्छा नहीं है, पैसे लेके दे रहा है, तो दूसरा आदमी को भी उसका पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा. Deviram was selling puri aloo bhaji in front of the temple. Nitesh had taken and eaten the puri aloo bhaji, wrongly understanding that it is a bhandara. When Deviram demanded the price for that aloo puri bhaji, Nitesh replied that he would not pay, as thinking it is bhandara. Now conclusion. As Deviram had no intention to give puri aloo bhaji gratuitously, it is the duty of the Nitesh to pay the price. The contract between Deviram and Nitesh is quasi contract, and Deviram can claim the price of puri aloo bhaji from Nitesh. ठीक है बच्चों, तो ये तो हो गया. आप इनको प्लीज रीड कीजिए, गो थ्रू कीजिए, एंड आई एम टेकिंग योर प्रॉब्लम्स. Bhandara means like prasad, which is in front of some people do na, some people distribute free of cost puri bhaji. सर क्वेश्चन में एक्ट मेंशन होगा या नहीं होना चाहिए? Sir, are you taking chapter 2? No, chapter 2 will be taken by Madam Harleen Kaur. Mr. Harpreet Prajapati is asking, sir, what if he does not have money to pay for puri bhaji? I think अगर इसकी बात करें, लीगली बात करें तो केस फाइल होगा, कोर्ट के थ्रू होगा. अदरवाइज अगर लीगल की बात नहीं करें, पिटाई होगी. Sir, difference between is also asked in exam. Yes. Difference question can also be asked in exam. But when you answer the question based on the references, you must have 3 columns, 1 column extra for basis. डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन जस्ट यू हैव, अभी तक जो आप इधर डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन कैसे लिखना है एग्जाम में, तो जैसे बेटा अभी तक आप लोग लिखते हैं 11th 12th में, सिंपल वही करना है. क्वालिटी शुड बी देयर, नो क्वांटिटी इज रिक्वायर्ड. क्वांटिटी का मतलब नहीं है, बस जितना है उतना आंसर आपको करना चाहिए, राइट. सो दिस वाज वन प्रेजेंटेशन और डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन कैसे आएगा. तो आई हैव डिस्कस्ड डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन जस्ट टू मेंशन द आंसर जितना रिक्वायर्ड है, जितना रिक्वायर्ड है यू मस्ट आंसर. आपको बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा नहीं करना है, 3-4 पेज में आंसर नहीं करना है, ठीक है, बट कंप्लीट आंसर शुड बी प्रॉपर. सो दिस वाज फ्रॉम माय साइड बच्चों, एंड दिस द टाइम. आई थिंक इन द लास्ट 10 लेक्चर्स आई हैव गिवन माय बेस्ट. आई हैव ट्राइड टू गिवन माय बेस्ट, जो मैं जितना बेस्ट कर सकता हूँ मैंने कोशिश की है. होपफुली आप लोगों को लॉ समझ में आई होगी, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट समझ में आया होगा, एंजॉय किया होगा, एंड दिस द टाइम to say good luck for your exam, and please do your best. And I think I should say thank you to all of you, and definitely I will miss all of you. मुझे बहुत मिस करूंगा आप लोगों को. My blessings are always with you. From the next class the sale of good act will be started, and thank you so much बच्चों. Love you all, miss you all. Thank you. Bye bye.